What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Duke Crew? This is Ball Hawk Ifeatu Melifonwu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for joining us here today, Monday, Lions Talk Live Morning Show Edition. And yes, it is the week we've all been waiting over a year for. We've been waiting for this opportunity, this rematch opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys, for Jerry's World, all the above. We know what happened last year, and I'm going to guess the players and coaching staffs for both teams also remember what happened last year. This is going to be a big matchup because let's be very frank and honest. Not only is it a revenge game for the Lions, but it's also an opportunity to keep pace, get another win, and stay in pace with the Minnesota Vikings for the top seed, not only in the NFC overall, but the NFC North. Yesterday, I'm sure all Lions fans, a number of you reached out to me and said, man, Aaron Rodgers, where are you when we need you? And unfortunately for the Detroit Lions, Aaron Rodgers threw one of the most questionable passes, I think, of his career to end the game. But anyways, we're not going to get into that right now. We'll save that for a little bit later. Real quick, before we get into the meat of the show, though, get things going. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're making a push for 8,100 subs. We're about 22 subs away, somewhere right around there. So if you could, help on out, hit that subscribe button. Surely would be thankful. Also, if you enjoy the channel, everything we do within the channel, reach on down, hit that thumbs up button. It's free of charge, takes a half second of time. Help us out. We try to get each video between 200 to 300 more thumbs up or likes, whatever you want to say. So, all right. And then last but never least, if you are considering looking for something to read, maybe either now or in the upcoming weeks as the holidays approach, maybe you're going to have a little bit more time at home, go to Amazon.com or wherever you find books and order Kajora book. It is the first in a 9-part series. The first book is out now. The second book comes out next year. But go ahead and grab it, read it, and if you like it, please consider leaving a kind review for the book. All right, with all those formalities out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the first segment of the show. And as you probably already know, it is 5 Headlines Now. All right, 5 headlines now. Maybe not the most meaty or exciting headlines. As you guys probably are aware, the Lions been off during the bye week. So you know what? Those headlines kind of dry up a little bit. But with that being said, Western Michigan University becomes a, quote, official educational partner, end quote, of the Detroit Lions. This is from MLive.com. So yes, I was a little impressed by this because my school I used to coach at and such and attend, Western Michigan, is now going to be the official educational partner. You'll see their ads and such placed around Ford Field, maybe even on some broadcasts, things of that sort. But they have come into an agreement between both parties. Is this breaking news? Probably for most of us, probably not. But for Western Michigan University, make no mistake about it, this is a big deal. All right, and our early look at 5 players who could be good trade deadline candidates for the Lions. This is Detroit news, and yes, we're going to talk about some trade options or opportunities, some headlines, updates for the Detroit Lions, because we're all probably on the same page when we say the Lions, more than likely, if they're ever going to be buyers, this is probably the year to do it. Brad Holmes, we know, has kicked the tires, kicked the can, whatever you want to say, on a couple of guys in the past few years. Just really hasn't made it happen. With that being said, he did make a trade for Donovan Peoples-Jones last year. He did call. We got confirmation from Brad Holmes himself last year about a couple defensive players, mostly end rushers. Did it year before, just never could make the deal happen, never could make it work for both guys. So if you want to check out Detroit news, they've got some ideas and thoughts on a couple of guys maybe we'll go out and try to acquire. Open thread, where do Detroit Lions need to improve the most? Question mark. SB Nation story by Jeremy Risman. This is a big question. And in my opinion, I don't know if it's an easy answer. I think the Lions secondary, I know a lot of people are going to say Terry Arnold needs to grow up and such, but I think if you really go watch him play, I think he has been progressing upwards. In fact, I'll even throw this out. If you watched yesterday's Jets versus Vikings game, Sauce Gardner, in my opinion, throughout most of that game, looked a lot like Terry Arnold, the way he was getting called for penalties, etc. So, and I get he was guarding Jefferson for the Vikings. Jefferson is somebody we're going to have to guard a couple times. But I think just the nuances of how teams are trying to isolate cornerbacks and then force them almost into penalties. You saw Sauce Gardner get hit a couple times. You see a lot of those same things happen with Terry Arnold, amongst other cornerbacks. I'm not sure if he's not just going to improve with every game just because he's a rookie and developing to the NFL. Other areas that maybe we could improve upon, I do think our interior offensive line can block a little bit better. Not that they've been bad, but I think they could do a better job overall. My guess is when the season's over at some point, we're going to find out Frank Ragnow is playing through that torn pec injury much longer in the season, earlier in the season, whatever you want to say, than what most of us became aware of. It would be my guess he was probably dealing with it from week 2 against Tampa Bay, week 3 against Arizona, where the injury happened, etc. So we'll have to wait and see, but go ahead and check out the story if you want to find out some areas perhaps others are thinking about the Lions can improve on. 2 Detroit Lions players get bad news from the NFL. The heavy story by Annie Erickson. So if you weren't aware, I know some of you guys messaged me about it, but Lions had 2 people. Jamison Williams was one. Levi Onwuzurike was the other who got fined for the week against for the things that happened, I should say, Monday Night Football against the Seattle Seahawks when Jamison Williams scored the touchdown and then the Calvin over the goalpost. He received a fine. Levi Onwuzurike also got fined for a late hit on the quarterback. It is what it is. I think it's kind of meh. Why are you fining him for this? Levi's late hit wasn't exactly egregious, at least in my thoughts. And then doing something to honor Calvin Johnson, who used to do that, the dunk over the goalpost all the time. Yes, the rule has changed. You're no longer allowed to do it. But doing something on the night he's inducted into the Hall of Fame or the Lions Hall of Fame, I really thought, man, that's a bad move by the NFL. You've got a player who isn't trying to be boisterous, isn't trying to take away from the game. He's trying to honor one of the greatest players in NFL history, and you're out there trying to throw shade at him for doing it. I think it's a bad look for the NFL. Maybe they'll reverse it or maybe at least lower it for both parties. All right, 20 breaking down the Lions' remaining games, DetroitLions.com, Tim Twentyman. Most of you guys know who Tim Twentyman is. He's a longtime beat reporter or the senior editor for DetroitLions.com. He does go ahead and put his thoughts on the remaining games, and you can find a couple different agencies who put out last night or early this morning, depending on how you're looking at it, thoughts on the Lions' each remaining games and what their final record is going to be. I'll let you go ahead and read it. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but if you want to go ahead and get some of the predictions on the remaining games, now that we've got a month or so of the season out of the way, people have a better idea who's going to be good and bad, or at least some deeper thoughts than in the preseason. Might want to check out that story. All right, let's go ahead and get over to the main topic of the day before we have a guest around 7:30. Kip Jr. is due to join us this morning. Hopefully he doesn't sleep in. All right, main topic of the day isn't just that Jerry World is the next target on our roster, on our schedule. It is the fact that the NFC North is real as well. I'm sure everybody probably paid at least some attention to NFL games yesterday. And yes, the NFC North, man, you cannot ask for a better division than this. And it is going to be, it's going to be a dogfight, I think, to the last game of the regular season. I really do think now more than more, that last game of the season is going to be perhaps the game that determines who wins the North, who gets the number 1 seed. You go through it, you just throughout the day yesterday, I'm assuming most people are rooting for the LA Rams to actually win a game. And yes, against the Packers. Packers, I think they look pretty gettable. They did not look great, in my opinion. I try to watch a little bit of that game. I will try to watch the Bears game a little bit, the Vikings game, among others. But the Packers, I get Jordan Love's coming back from injury. I get he's also not 100% yet. But right now, he does not look like the Jordan Love who had that 8-game stretch towards the end of last year that made everybody think, man, the Packers might just have their third straight Hall of Fame quarterback. Not that he can't be that guy, but right now, I'd say he's struggling a little bit. The Vikings, if you guys watched that game, I would ask you this. Yes, they won the game, but were you heavily intimidated by them from watching it? I thought they played pretty well. I didn't think there was anything over the top, but you know what? They're still 5-0. You're still going into a bye week, and they're going to have 2 weeks to get ready for us. So that's an unfortunate thing, but it is what it is. And then the next one would be the Panthers. Boy, they might have had their Super Bowl earlier this season when they won a game, and I hate saying that about a team because it is so early in the season, but that might have just been their crescendo moment. Hey, we won a game. We're not going to be 0 whatever. We're going to actually get a win this season. The Bears look dominating against them, and some of that is just because, yes, the Carolina Panthers just look like they're in a different league, and not in a good way, by the way. So with all that being said, that brings us to the topic you saw in the thumbnail. Hey, Lions revenge game. The bye week is over, and Detroit now readies for a return to Dallas before taking on challenging span of games that could determine the season. Hey, let's be fair. Jerry's world is never an easy place to play. We can all have our conspiracy theories on it. I'm not going to say any of those theories are correct or wrong. I'm just going to simply say this. You probably know going into this game, the cards are stacked against you. You're going to the casino, and yes, you know that the casino doesn't have its normal advantage. It probably has an abnormal advantage. So could Dak Prescott and the boys pull something off? Absolutely. Every team in this league can win. What we can say is the Dallas Cowboys do have some rift between some of their players appearing to emerge. Last night in the game, if you watched, Dak Prescott threw a pick, and then you could see basically him and CeeDee Lamb have a conversation where, I can't say that we know all the terminology going on between those two, but I'm guessing they were chewing some gum and having a very kind conversation with each other, expressing their viewpoints about each other's play. And it does seem like the Cowboys maybe have some internal rifts developing. We can also say the Dallas defense is a little shorthanded and allowing a lot of teams to run at a healthy pace against them. So that seems like a very favorable matchup for the Detroit Lions, who come on in with one of the league's best rushing attacks, a team that wants to pound the ball right at you over and over and over, and that lives a ton off play action. Yes, Dallas, when fully healthy, has a pretty good pass rush, but if you can't stop the run, that pass rush is really mitigated. And yes, Dallas appears they'll be without Lawrence, who's on the IR, and then Micah Parsons. If he's out there playing, he's going to be very hampered at best, coming back from high ankle sprain. I think he's only on week 2 of the recovery. High ankle sprains, for for you guys who have never had one before, I'd say this: you might as well just break your leg. You're going to heal it fully faster than trying to come back from a high ankle sprain. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with them. All right, let's go ahead and get over to you guys. I think this game and the next couple games really are going to be huge opportunities for the Lions. You win in Dallas, you win against Minnesota. You know what? You now have the driver's seat in the race for the NFC, let alone the NFC overall for the number 1 seed. But you got some other games coming up. You got Tennessee. I'm going to assume if Tennessee continues doing what they're doing, man, that might be just a get-right game for everybody involved. Just maybe even be able to play some guys who normally don't play a lot before you then face the Green Bay Packers, which I've already said, at least right now, they do not look like the Packers of last year. So, all right, let's enough of me talking. Let's see what you guys have to say. Let me scroll to the top of the screen and get your comments with the Duke crew going. Jason, great citations from the beaches of Mexico! Exclamation point. The NFC is stronger than this Don Julio tequila. Yikes. Superdome or bust. Well, hopefully having a good time. And just thankfully for you, man, you're on the right side of the Gulf because, man, as probably most of you know, looks like Florida is going to get hit with its second hurricane in a week and a half. And just to break away from Lions Talk News, I've been inundated with calls from people from Florida looking to get out of there and move to Michigan because they're just saying, no mas. They can't handle it. I hope this thing ends up not being nearly as bad as they're saying it's going to be. But, man, it's going to rip right across Florida. So, all right, JDC, morning all. Same to you. Hopefully have a great one, JDC. Clark, enjoy the trip, Jason. We need this win, baby. Man, Vikings will have 2 weeks of to rest and get ready for us. Yes, they will. And it's unfortunate that the league set it up that way. I can understand, hey, in the Lions case, all right, this is not a divisional, excuse me, this is not a North Division, or in their case, a West Division conference battle. It's just a NFC battle. But I think, man, probably not many people anticipated Minnesota was going to be as strong as they are currently. They're going to have a huge advantage, but you know what? Just because they have an advantage doesn't mean you can't overcome it. I think the Lions are going to rise to the occasion. That's my opinion. Moonscar Blade, good morning. Good Monday morning, Duke Crew. Starting lineup. This time we're going to have to see the rest of this. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. Seattle Seahawks lost. The curse is real! Exclamation point. Stand by, Dallas. I see Super Bowl. Woo! And yes, in regards to the emerging storyline across the NFL, the curse of the Detroit Lions is a real thing. You play us, you do not do well the following week. You've seen that with the Rams. You've seen that with the Arizona Cardinals. And yes, now you see it with the Seattle Seahawks as well. So hopefully it keeps paying out here, because you know what? You beat Minnesota. Does that mean they will lose the following week as well? And now you got an even bigger lead in the NFC North. Jesse, greetings and salutations, y'all. NFC North has to be the top division in the league. It's unreal. It is, man. I guess I haven't, to be fair, done a analyzation of all the other divisions in the league. But right now, is there a losing team in the North? The Bears have, 3 wins? Packers have 3 wins. We have 3 wins. And the Vikings, obviously, are 5-0. So, yes, I think you're spot on. It's a tough division, and probably going to be a dogfight to that last week of the regular season. All right, Moonscar, good morning. Good morning, Duke Crew starting lineup. This time, Skipper will report eligible, and we throw him a TD pass. I'm down with it. Let's just win, baby. As long as we do that, I'm good. Trumps, woo! And good woo to you, too. Moonscar, Bo Booth, I just saw that article on the Detroit Lions hangar. Yes, it is. And there could be a lot of different thoughts behind it. Maybe the Lions are just that physical, where they wear down your team that badly. If that's the case, and if this thing keeps gaining steam, here's my question. If I'm not an NFC North team, and I'm like, the heck with it, I'm more worried about my division, do I start resting guys? It's a real question from a coaching standpoint. If you really buy into the fact that there's the Lions hangover, do you have to, as a coach, make some calls and say, hey, I'm more worried about the team the week after than this game? So that's a thought, man. I don't know. Let's see, Eddie, what do you got? Aaron Rodgers needs to hang it up. He looked terrible yesterday. Jets are done. He did not look great. He looked like he was more interested in jarring at the officials or everybody else other than himself. I only got to see a couple of bits and pieces of the game. I didn't watch the full game. But that last drive, with everything on the line, I get he probably wanted to throw a back shoulder throw, but that wasn't even a good back shoulder throw. That thing was short. I thought his receiver had zero shot at it unless he was going to dive and hit the ground. It just looks like Aaron Rodgers is not on the same page with his offense and his receivers. It's too bad, because the Jets really could have and maybe even should have won that game. All right, Trumps, 2024 Detroit over Dallas. I'm hoping you are right, my friend. I think you are right. Trey, what's good all? Question mark. Bears are looking better. Green Bay looks off. Just not what I expected this year. Vikings just find a way to win. They do. And you know what? And in the day, you don't have to be good. You don't have to be bad. You just have to be good enough to pull off wins. That's what I'll say with the Bears, although yesterday the Bears were clearly the better team. The Jets, the Jets found a way to give Minnesota the win. Or you could say Minnesota did enough things to not hurt themselves. They just let the Jets beat themselves. So maybe all that can be true. See, Bo, indeed, Moonscar. Every team that played the Lions lost the next game. Real damage, 100% with that. And that's what I'm saying. Some teams might, if they start buying the hype with that, they might have to start making some business decisions with players. I can't talk. Say, France, good day all. How big is that last game of the regular season now looking? Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that's the game to determine the NFC North. I think you're spot on with that, man. I mean, who knows? Maybe Minnesota goes in the tank or whatever. Maybe Green Bay does too or whatever. But I think the NFL is looking at this right now. If I'm in the front offices in New York, I'm probably looking and celebrating right now, because the longer Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago, all stay within, shooting distance of each other, it just pushes all those fan bases to stay glued to the TV, the news, the internet or whatever, and rooting their teams on, not just for the North, but for the playoffs overall. So I think this is exactly what the NFL wants. Good morning, Dan and the Duke Crew. Oh, yeah. Brad Allen, best not be the official in our Cowgirls game again. No, I'm gonna assume, but, hey, you can assume something doesn't mean it's going to happen. I'm going to assume the NFL is egregiously aware of the situation that would cause. They're probably making sure, doing a little due diligence at this point. They don't want to find out, like with Brad Allen, well, his crew worked that game that was controversial with one of these teams in a couple years ago. They did this game, that game, because it was a mess for the NFL. If you guys remember last year, when somebody, did some actual journalism and said, Brad Allen and his crew have worked a number of controversial games for the Detroit Lions. It wasn't just that game last year. It was some games prior to, like the Fail Mary, and was it the batted ball against Seattle? So, yeah, there were a lot of ties to that, and that just, unfortunately, that just opens the floodgates for people to speculate if there's any kind of manipulation going on. Hatman, top of the morning to Dan the Man and the Duke Crew, drinking my woo-woo coffee and waiting for the show to start. Can I get a woo-woo? You ask, you shall receive, my friend. I'll give you a... And there you go. All right, going back to the top, Tori, Bo Booth, the hangover is real. I would agree. At this point, you got to say it is a real thing. There's no falsehood to that. JDC, woo, and good woo to you too. Hetman, Hookadoo, I hear you there. Rich, good morning, Duke Crew! Exclamation point. I hope Brad Allen isn't officiating the game. Yeah, man, I think this might be the topic of the week. Woo! And good morning to you, Rich. Stephanie, good morning, boys! Exclamation point. Laughing out loud, Rich. I'm glad we are back to a normal week now. Don't like not rooting for the team on a Sunday. Yeah, it does kind of change. I mean, that's one thing with the NFL season, or you probably say it for college football too. You kind of get into a schedule, familiarity, whatever you want to say, on a week-to-week basis. Hey, here's what I'm doing on Saturday. Here's what I'm doing on Sunday. When you take that away, now what do? You break that trend, that norm. So I'm with you. I'm ready for Sunday already. Hatman, we definitely need to win this game to stay relevant. What a division it's turning out to be. Yes, it is. And my guess is, and it's just a guess, I'm going to say this because I'm a Lions fan. I think the Lions will win both games against Minnesota. I also think at some point, somebody's going to beat us. Some other teams in the division are going to beat each other. I don't think anybody's getting through the NFC North with 0 losses. If somebody does, obviously I hope it's Detroit. But my anticipation is there will be a few losses. Let's see, Jerry's boys barely pulled out a win last night. They are not ready for the storm front coming their way. Oh, yeah. They barely won last night. They barely won against the Giants, so maybe the Giants are better than most of us think. The Giants really, I think, a week prior should have won that game, but it is what it is. Let's see, Hookadoo, I hear you on that, 70. Yes, me too, man. I'm ready for the season to be back. Or excuse me, the games to be back. Us to be back in the field. How about that? Jason, here's a small golf clap to Broski for a win against a terrible team. Williams looked decent. Hey, it's funny. Broski takes some shots at times, and he's a good dude and everything. But to be fair, his team has won 3 games. I think they've played 3 teams that most teams would beat. But at the end of the day, you can only play who's across from you. So I'm looking forward to when we play the Bears. I think that's going to be a good matchup. AJ, good morning, Duke Crew. Back at you. Papa, Bengals lost. Yes, maybe we need to keep eyes on them for a trade. I know that's one of the things we've been talking about. Hey, could the Lions go after Trey Hendrickson? Could they go after, Budda Baker? Could they go after anybody? If I'm Cincinnati, man, I got to take a real long look at this season. They've already got, 4 losses? If they lose, I would say 2 out of the next 4, or maybe 3 out of the next 4, your season's done. I mean, you're not making the playoffs. Do they then say, hey, this roster isn't working, we got to try something different? And to be fair to the Cincinnati Bengals, they do not typically spend a lot of money. So they're one of the tighter franchises like the Lions used to be. Boy, they might be in a bad spot. The downside of yesterday for Lions is that Arizona Cardinals game. If you think there's any kind of validity to perhaps the Lions going for Budda Baker, like I said, I know both teams had talked, But the Cardinals did not want to make a move until they knew they were clearly out of the playoff contention. But what a great comeback. And man, if you're the 49ers or their fan base, that's 2 straight weeks. You had a pretty sizable lead and blew it. Yeah, I would say, man, there's some eyebrows being raised, what do I want to say, over in the 49ers fan base. Let's see, JDC, go Tigers. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I want to say today's game 2, and then then they're in Detroit. What is it, tomorrow? I'm not 100% sure. You guys can let me know in the comment section. I'd say Miles Bar Green Citations coach and crew. Dallas about to lose 2 games in a row. The Lions and whoever they play after that. Laughing out loud. Yeah, you might be right. The hangover is real. Quentin Green Citations, y'all. Who ready for that big game Sunday? Man, I've been waiting a year for this one. Woo! Yes, I think a lot of fans are, man. This would be one that I'm guessing when the schedule came out, a lot of people circled it, highlighted it, whatever. It's going to be a packed crowd. It's going to be a boisterous crowd. I wouldn't be surprised if you have some bars or pubs or whatever throughout the state of Michigan, doing something special for this game, because that game last year, man, that was a real sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. They're going to be looking for a little bit of payback this year. Voltron, good morning. Do Crew Gang, back at you. See, Miles, please like, share, and copy. You don't need to send it, but it still counts. Good for the channel. Yeah, anything you guys can do to help out the channel, I surely would be thankful. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share and copy button. All that stuff helps out a ton. See, Jedi Sith, good morning. Back at you. David, we need to step up the next 4 weeks. Have to win each game, I think, to stay in shooting distance of first place. If you could somehow go 4-0 in these next 4 games, you would be, man, 7-1 at that point, basically halfway through the schedule, or at least close to halfway through the schedule. But the big ones obviously are going to be just trying to keep pace with Minnesota and the NFC overall. You're not wrong, my friend. You're not wrong. Hookadoo. You know what kills me about the Cowgirls? The NFL still wants to call them America's team. Why? That's a great question, because I get in the 70s. You could even say maybe in the 80s or definitely the 90s they were, but I just don't think it is anymore. I think they're just stuck to that saying because it's been around for so long. So, Lions hangover is a thing. I would agree with that 1,000%. Hookadoo, morning, Miles Marker. What's the good word today? We'll find out. Bo Booth, let's see. Not many things impressed me with the game from London. One that did is the fans for both teams that showed up. Yeah, and as you guys can see from just watching our channel, Lions Talk Live, you see more and more international fans for the NFL. I'm going to guess, but I don't know. I'm going to guess a lot of those fans there were probably from the area, or at least close to it. Parts of Europe. How about that? And they just flew on over because, hey, here's a chance for them to go see the game live. NFL's done a good job marketing the growth of the fan base across the planet for decades now, and you can see it paying off for them. Jason, let's hope we don't go there next year. At some point, it's going to happen, man. I don't personally like it myself, but hey, they don't ask me. See, David, here is who I think we should look at for the edge opposite Hutch if we make a move. Trey Hendrickson, Cincinnati. Harold Landry. Ooh, that's a good one. For Tennessee, what's your thoughts? I think both of them would be great. I think Landry would probably be, I'm guessing here, but I think he would be a easier get than Hendrickson. The one thing I do like about Hendrickson is just he has, I think it's 2 years left on his existing contract before he's going to re-up Landry's contract. I don't know. Both of them would not be bad additions, in my opinion. All right, Bo, Sauce had more penalties than TA. Yeah, and that's one thing watching it. It's just, I think what teams are trying to do to throw people into potential penalties, and give credit for where credit's due on that. They took advantage of it. Trump's, yes, Kamala is, okay, radical it is. All right, bus driver, good morning, Duke Crew. I'll be listening but not replying. Good switch to daytime operations supervisor. Hey, congrats to you, man. Congrats. So do Coach a favor and hit that like button. Woo! All right, and thanks for that. And congrats, I'm assuming, on the switch. All right, it's about that time to bring forth our special guest of the day. You guys have seen him on here many times before. Let's bring on Hutch Jr. Good morning to you too, Hutch Jr. How you doing today, man?
Good, guys. What's going on?
We're coming out of the bye week, getting ready for the Cowboys, and what do you know? The Cowboys have been hanging on to win a couple tight games. How big of a game do you feel like this is for both teams?
I think it's probably bigger for Detroit. After that sour taste we were left in our mouth last year. I'm not really scared of the Cowboys at all. Their run game is pathetic. CD Lamb's probably going to be the biggest problem, but Lions should beat these boys, man. It's just if I don't know, man. The Cowboys don't impress me. They get lucky now twice, and now everyone thinks they're gonna go back to the Super Bowl. So here we are.
So when you look at the Cowboys, they're struggling to stop the run. It does look like there's some potential. Micah Parsons will be out. Lawrence will be out for them on the defensive side. Do you think the Lions offense, what we saw against Seattle, will continue against the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, you pound the ball. You pretty much have the best 1-2 combination in the backfield, and not to mention they just lost Marshawn Greenland from their second-round pick that they just got from Western Michigan. Pretty sure he went out with a knee injury, so it's looking like he's not even going to play. So they're down to their third. They're down a third-string pass rusher now too. So it's going to be one of those games where I think you're going to see Ben Johnson and just pound the ball, man. I mean, Gibbs is starting. You can see it at the Seahawks game. He started, finding those holes and busting some big runs. And then, Monty's just unbelievable. I mean, what a pickup from the Lions. And, I think you just pound these guys, man. They've been proven that they can't stop the run. There's no need to go away from it. So
I'm with you there. Let's talk real quick about the NFC North because, man, from a record standpoint alone, the North there's no weak teams here. If you're Dan Campbell, if you're Brad Holmes, you're looking at how things are shaping up. Do you feel like there's any kind of added pressure for you to add somebody to the team to help this defense or this offense or whatever it may be?
Yeah, I would. Obviously, my dream is Max Crosby, but that's a pipe
Right.
dream. But yeah, I mean, just now with Davenport going out, and then you got Barnes down for a little bit. We'll see where Ragnow comes in. I think he'll be maybe back for the Dallas game, maybe one more week, which is fine with me even if he sits for the Dallas game. But I think you just want to add a pass rusher there. I think our linebacking core is all right. I think we can get by. Obviously Barnes is a huge piece, but I would like to see another pass rusher on the other side of the Hutch. Sucks because our man James Houston really hasn't been doing much. So I think that ship has probably sailed. I know we'll probably have Brian Branch back. And then, safety would probably be the other position I would look at. Obviously with the rumors of Budda Baker, if we can somehow pull that off, that would be huge. But safety and probably D end or, that interior D line would be the spot I would go with.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they ultimately pull the trigger or anything. But let's talk about the North a little bit more in depth. Were you able to watch the Minnesota game yesterday?
Yeah, I was one of the ones up at 9:00 watching the game. That game, Minnesota's one of those weird 5-0 teams. I don't think they're that good, but they just find ways to win. It's almost like when the Lions were 9-8. Sam Darnold doesn't play well, but their defense is playing superior. I think they're like second, right behind Green Bay for the most takeaways in the league. So their defense is playing well, but then you see spurts where Minnesota just stutters. Like I think in that second half, they didn't really score a lot of points, and Aaron Rodgers couldn't find a way. That to me, that's just Aaron Rodgers doesn't look like Aaron Rodgers, the old man. Because if that was the Aaron Rodgers we all knew, he wins that game, he daggers. 3 minutes left. I even said, I was like, this is way too much time for Aaron Rodgers. He's moving down the field, and then he throws the back shoulder fade to Mike Williams, which was the dumbest throw I've ever seen in my life. I don't know why you're throwing that ball. But yeah, Minnesota's it's a weird 5-0 team, man. They're finding ways to win. We'll see what happens now with Aaron Jones injured with a hip, but give Minnesota credit, man. They're everyone thought they were only going to win 4 or 5 games, and here they are 5-0 in the first 5 weeks. So
you can only play the games in front of you. You can't play the games that haven't happened yet. But here's a question for you. It seems like every time we play a team that has injuries, everybody focuses on that team's injuries. Yet nobody seems to bring up all the injuries the Lions are playing through. Why is the reasoning for that?
I've become one of the most hated fan bases in the National League over the last 2 years. we got Seahawks fans crying about the refs when we played them for the past interferences. Now we got people crying, well, we have injuries. But yet here we are, we're starting we started Coyote Ottawisa against the Seahawks, who are 3-0, got this bomb defense, and he plays well, and we win the game. But everyone, people forget that we're without an All-Pro center, and we're without our linebacker, and our secondary is still trying to figure out how to fill things in, and we're winning games. Yeah, I just don't get it. You can't make the excuse of injuries, because injuries are part of the game. Just go out and win a football game. Lions fans aren't out here complaining, oh, well, we're without Frank Ragnow. We just go ahead and we just push forward. But Seahawks fans, man, I've seen them all last week. They were crying about the refs. They were, well, you guys don't beat us with all of our D linemen, and I'm like, well, that's neither here or there. You can only play the game that's in front of you, like you said, and we beat you. So whatever,
Right. And that's the thing that cracks me up, because just looking at like where we're currently at. Okay, Davenport, your starting end, is out. You've got was it Broderick Martin, one of your primary backups, has been out is on the defensive line. You got one of your starting linebackers out. You had a starting safety out against the Seahawks. And then you go to the offensive side. I mean, you got, like you said, Frank Ragnow out, and there's probably other guys I'm not considering, like maybe Emmanuel Mosley, or some of the guys that got hurt in training camp. So every team has injuries. To me, I think, man, if you can find a team that's 100%, good luck, because that just doesn't happen. All right, let's go back to Dallas, though, because this is going to be a big game, not just for the NFC race for the number 1 seed, number 2 seed, or whatever seeding, but let's talk about the fact that the Dallas Cowboys are one of their top teams in their division, and right now, statistically speaking, record-wise, they're one of the best teams in the NFC. What do you have to do to limit the Dallas offense to be less effective? What can this defense do to put some heat on Dak Prescott?
I mean, I think the smart thing would be just run the ball and take the ball out of Dak's hands. Dak is very capable of winning you football games. Obviously, he did it last night. And the less time that he's got in his hands, the less time he's got it to throw to CD Lamb, who is a one-play touchdown almost any time he touches the ball. I think the Lions did that very well when they played the Seahawks. When they were running the ball, kept the ball out of that Geno's hands, but he still found ways. I mean, it was a tic-tac game. So, and then our defense, man, I just think you do what you got to do. You got to get, maybe, you're going to have to disguise coverages a little bit. I know that was kind of a bad thing with Barnes going out, because Glenn could disguise his coverages a little bit, with Barnes and stuff in there. So I think he's still trying to figure that out. But, last year we got to the quarterback a little bit. So hopefully Hutch has a repeat game where he had those 3.5, 4.5 sacks, and, our defense can kind of play. I think you put Carlton Davis on CD Lamb, you just safety over the top of him, and then, you let Terrion play whoever he's going to play. But yeah, no, I just, the big thing to me would just pound the ball, man, and then get ahead of these guys. That way there's no ref show towards the end. So.
What do you think of Terrion Arnold's development so far? I mean, I get he's only played almost a quarter of his rookie year, but are you seeing anything that worries you? Are you seeing anything that you like out of the kid?
No, he's sticky, man. He's just got to learn. You're in the big leagues now. Your hands are going to get called. This is, I was watching that Jets game, and Sauce Gardner, man, it was like how many penalties, but some of those weren't actually DPIs if you looked at them, and they were hand battling, or Justin Jefferson was pushing off. But you're not going to get those calls against the best wide receiver in the league. So Terrion, he's just got to learn, to kind of just hand battle a little bit, and just know where it's going to get iffy. Some of those, I remember in the Rams game, the one against Kupp was over the head. But yeah, he's coming along, man. He's just got to learn. I know there's a lot of penalties and it's killing the team, but I wouldn't be too worried. I'd rather have a guy be aggressive off the line and stuff like that, and then, just learn from it. But yeah, there's nothing of concern. I mean, he's not getting beat. That's the problem. Like, people are like, I can deal with penalties. I'm more worried about, like, is this guy going to get cooked? And he hasn't really gotten beat over the top or, whatever. So, I think it'll learn. He'll learn it with the time. And, I'm pretty sure he's already getting coached up right now about it. So.
Okay. Now let's talk about the Lions offense. It's been trending upwards on a week-to-week basis. The Seattle game, clearly our best game of the season. What do you think is starting to click with this team that has made the offense starting to appear so difficult for other teams to defend?
Yeah, I think Goff finally realized that he doesn't have to, spotlight uh, St. Brown. I think all of our wide receivers in the room just kind of know, like, hey, the ball's coming to you in any moment. And you saw it with the one play touchdown to J-Mo, man. Like, um, that was one of the things, I feel like Goff was trying to get everyone involved at a certain point, and then he was just trying to force things. I know those first couple games, even the Bucks game, you saw it, he was trying to force feed St. Brown instead of taking his check downs and things like that. But it just shows you how dangerous they are when they like get Laporta going, because Laporta up until that game only had, I think, 3 or 4 catches, and then I think he ended up with like 4 or 5 that game. And you just saw what the offense would do once the tight end got motion. It kind of set up the play action. It kind of set up, those crossing routes. I mean, some of those, if you look at some of those replays, I mean, there were spots where Goff had multiple options to JMO or St. Brown, and now you got Tim Patrick emerging. So, yeah, I just think it's everyone's playing their role right now, and they're going to be hard to beat, man. If JMO keeps doing what he's doing, you got Tim Patrick playing the way he is. I think he's probably earned a role on this team with his spots, and if Laporta keeps getting targets like he is, it's going to be dangerous. And then you got the two-headed monster behind Goff. Either one of those are one-play touchdowns. Monty can break a run. Gibbs can do whatever he needs to do. I mean, he's either coming out of the backfield catching the ball, or he's going to take a 2-yard run into a 20-yard run. So this offense is really dangerous. I think everyone would love to add Devontae Adams, but I mean, you don't need it. Why give up a second for something you don't need?
Right.
But I think there's other pieces on this team you could get. But yeah, no, our offense, I was really impressed against the Seahawks, because the Seahawks were playing really good football, and to score what we scored against them was really good. A good sign.
Jameson Williams, we all get his story. Rookie year, more or less was shot. We knew it when he drafted him because of the ACL injury that he got in the championship game that year prior in college. The second year, hey, didn't have a great start with a little bit of a suspension, even though he returned early. But this year, you do seem to see him blocking downfield, on running plays. You see him, cutting across the middle, just doing more and more things to emerge. By the end of the season, when we hit the playoffs, how good could this kid be?
The potential for this kid's amazing, man. You could just see it, his one-play potential, and I think teams are starting to realize it. Like, hey, man, we can't play up like this. I think everyone, the whole cover 2 safety look, you can't play this guy up, because you saw it in the Seahawks game. If they're running that same play and Amon-Ra goes out and JMO comes underneath, if you don't have an angle on him, he's taking it to the house. And I think they're starting to find ways to get him the ball. I would like to see a little more end arounds with him, just because, with him coming off. But I think they're setting that up too. You can see it. They're always putting him in motion. And, once, and that, I think that might be just to his advantage of getting him at top speed in that motion and then hitting his route and gone. But, even the one where you could see he's catching more in traffic, he's starting to really become a receiver. That spin throw that Goff had, in the Seahawks game where he spun, and I mean, JMO was his one target. You put it right on his chest, JMO catches it. 2 years ago, that's a drop ball by JMO. So credit to JMO, man. I've always been a huge supporter of JMO. I told people to just wait it out and watch what happens, and he's going to be a huge part of this offense. And he's starting to become that guy, So, I predicted, I think, 700 total yards, and I think he's going to exceed that. So,
yeah, I think you're right. I think he's going to vastly supersede that by the time the season comes to a close. But real quick, let's go back over to the defensive side. We've all been speculating, hey, should the Lions trade to acquire this guy or that guy? But what if they just keep it in-house? Who are a couple players you think could potentially take over that opposite defensive end spot and maybe even develop over the course of the year?
Yeah, I mean, you got the one guy from preseason. I always forget his name now.
Gouye?
Yep. You can bring him up. Yeah, you got Mitchell Aguye. You got who's the other guy that was tearing up the preseason? He was on.
You're testing me there, man.
Oh man, I can't even think of his name. Anyways, but yeah, you could always bring these guys up and see what they're doing. I mean, so far so good. You're bringing guys up from the practice squad in there, but yeah, it might just, it sucks, man. I wish James Houston would just somehow splash, but yeah.
What do you think's going on with him?
I don't
with
know,
you?
man. I don't know. I don't know if it's just pressure and he can't figure it out, but it's just crazy to me. He went from all those sacks and now he's somewhere nowhere to be found. Um, and there's no reason for it. You got Hutch on one side, you got Breeder and those guys in the middle. You just got to get at the quarterback if that's what you want to do. It just sucks. I was a huge fan of him, and it's starting to tingle away, man. I'm like, come on, Houston, just do something, give us some life. But it's gonna come to a start point where they're just not gonna play him anymore, and it's gonna suck, But
Right.
it's the NFL. You gotta make plays to stay in the game. So
You do. Yeah, I mean, you're as good as your last play, so it's unfortunate. But whatever is going on with James Houston is what it is. He's just not the same guy we saw a couple seasons ago, at least not currently. Maybe it is the injury. Maybe it's just opportunity. Well, I think this weekend will be a big test for him because if he gets 14 or less snaps again, probably means the coaching staff have seen what they've seen out of him, and they don't have a lot of confidence in him. But all right, I will go ahead and let you get on out of here. Thanks for popping on. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out to everybody where they can find you and your awesome work.
Yep, Hutch Jr. As always, you can always find me on Twitter with the most updated line news at the only Hutch Jr. You can find me on here. You can find me on Facebook. You can also find me on Catch My Vibe Radio podcast. Download the app. Tune in. We got a bunch of things going on, so we're right out of here in Jackson, Michigan. So. Tune in, man. And thanks as always, Dan, having me on. Go Tigers. Big day today. Got to win this one. And then, I might take a trip to Detroit. Who knows? I don't know. First playoff game in a while. I think the last one I went to was the Red Sox, and I sat nosebleeds. So, but yeah, outside of that, man, you guys have a good day, and thanks for having me on again.
Hey, always glad to have you here, my friend. Go enjoy the day and go root on your teams, my friend. So
thank you.
He is Hutch Jr. He's on here often, so we'll see him on the next one. Take care. All right, getting back to the Duke Crew comments section. Michael D. Green, salutations, coach and Duke Crew! Exclamation points. Superdome, Super Bowl, what pride! Woo, woo. All of the above, my friend. Good to see you this morning. Southwest, this Bears fan in the chat, go find a Bears channel. Be happy you beat the worst team in the NFL and lost to every good team. All right, fair enough. I'm guessing Broski Bear has been patrolling the comment section. Fair enough. All right, let's see. Troy, Seahawks and 49ers both lose. That is huge for us. Vikings and Washington starting to become the concern. Yeah, and man, Daniels for Washington, this kid is looking just phenomenally good. Now, we all can say the same thing last year with C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud this year, no disservice to him, but hey, every defensive coordinator has probably spent a ton of time researching your strengths, weaknesses, putting you in a little bit more challenging situations this year. The same could be true, although enjoy what you're seeing with Daniels this year because, man, he is off the charts looking good. And I just wonder, Broski Bear, and this is not a shot at you, but if you're the Bears fan, here's my question. If you're watching Daniels, as honest as he can be, do you go back and go, man, maybe we should have drafted that kid versus Caleb Williams? I like Caleb Williams, USC fan here, in case you guys didn't know. I just think he's going to take a little bit of time to develop. He's getting put in some better situations, too, if you watch the offense. I've only watched a little bit of their games here and there. At the start of the year, I thought, man, they were just trying to overload him, where now it seems like they're trying to figure out a little bit more about what he's comfortable with and not. But this is neither here nor there. All right, Phil, my first electric guitar was a red seat special, $50 in 1970, okay? I want to say mine was a Les Paul, my first one, but man, that's back in the early 80s, and it was fairly beat up. Dimitri, Dan, the Bears are not good at all. The Panthers just, aren't good, are even worse. Fair enough. I would probably say there's a lot of truth to that statement. Well, a whole lot of truth. See, Sears special, okay? Southwest, if he want to be a Lions fan, wake up this early and be on our hilarious Get a Life. We don't care about none of your playoff teams. Fair enough. I'll go with that. Yep. Phil, Silver Tone. Okay. Charles, on Wednesday. I'll go with that. See, Bo, I believe so. Phil, Kurt Steele, the infamous one. I live in North Carolina. The Panthers are bad. Yes, they are. They are not a well-ran franchise by any means. Charles, go Tigers! Exclamation point. Must win this afternoon. Yeah, 100% right there. They need to even the series. Bo Vox, AC 15, my first amp. Okay. Charles, Tarkin pitching today. Let's hope so. See, Kurt, watch party at Ford Field for the Cowboys game. That's what I'm talking about. And I thought they were doing something like that. But, yeah, thanks for confirming that there, Kurt. Phil Niceamp, JK, that London game was fake. Little Rocks also. Okay. Let's see. Derek, go Tigers. Yes, everybody cheer on the Tigers today, man. Huge opportunity for them today. Let's see. Hutch Jr., Kurt Steele, you going to the watch party? Yeah, he lives, in North Carolina. But, hey, you want to make the pilgrimage on up, make the drive on up, feel free. Broski, Cowboys have some wide receivers other than Lamb starting to step up. A tight end Ferguson is always a threat as well. They will be challenging to cover for the Lions, extremely average at best secondary. Fair enough. All right, we'll see what we do. Let's see, Hutch Jr., that's right, duh. There you go. Dimitri, Dan, can I get a woo? You want a woo? I'll give you a, let's make it a good one. Let's go with a, how about a, and there you go, my friend. Let's see, Matthew, door is wide open for the Lions to get to the Super Bowl this season. I hope so, man. I mean, as selfish Lions fan here, I would love to see the Lions in the Super Bowl. But you know what? You got to worry about the next game, not a few months from now. See, Hutch Jr., Broski Bear, Seahawks are a better team, and we beat them and handled them. Exclamation point. Cowboys aren't scary. All right, we'll go with that. Southwest, he is a Bear or a Cowgirl fan, then they did nothing last year. This is true. See, Chuck E. Cheese, we chose not to go this year. We have to go and give up a home game eventually. Yeah, eventually the NFL is going to make us play over there. It's going to happen. I'm not a huge fan of it. I get why the Jacksonville Jaguars are doing it because they legitimately, I think their ownership wants to supplant the team, take it out of Jacksonville, and put it over in London or someplace like that. But I'm not always a fan of the London games, just for the teams that have to go. Dimitri, hit the thumbs up button for Lions fam. Yes, if you guys can, hit the subscribe, hit the thumbs up. You guys all know it. Thank you for all you do, guys. And thank you, Dimitri. JDC, refuse to lose. I like the way you're thinking. Bo, I'd rather go to London than Brazil. Fair enough. I'll go with that. See, it's Great Lakes. Good morning, coach and crew. Felt lonely without football yesterday. Exclamation point. I think it will be great to have Martin back, Spell Reader, and McNeil. Yeah, I can't wait to see what Broderick does this season. I get he might not get a ton of snaps, but if he can get, 15 to 18 snaps, maybe 20 snaps a game, just, rotation. See, Broski, Mike Hutch Jr., the Lions allowing 500 yards of offense, 3 rushing TDs to 395 yards and a TD through the air. If you consider that handling them, sign me up for that. Well, we still won by 2 scores. Broski, so I guess there's that. So, all right, JK, I want to see Hutch Sr., fair enough. Miles Parker, pretty sure since the NFL this spring gave the Lions the Germany market, our overseas game probably in Germany, Munich, but I can't say it. Chuck E. Cheese, could be. We play over in Munich. Yep. Let's see, Southwest, all fake teams get exposed. Minnesota, the Bears, the minute they play real teams, they aren't good. They might just happen. It might just. See, Matthew, my Cowboys are in rebuild mode. Jerry just did not want the average fan to know that. Could be a lot of truth to that. Southwest, Sam Cinderella looks great. 179, no touchdowns. We not the Jets. Boy, we some real dogs. Yeah, I would agree. I think, the Jets, I was expecting a lot more out of them than what we saw out there. And Rodgers, I get a lot of it you could say is on Rodgers. The Jets defense had some struggles early in the game. I thought, like you're saying, Southwest, I thought they played better as the game went on. But Rodgers, man, he just did not look good at all. Maybe I'm not giving the Minnesota Vikings defense enough credit, but whatever it is, man, Rodgers, he's not good. Derek, I hate playing the Cowboys. The refs are all wearing Spurs. That might be true. See, Miles Barrett, laughing out loud, enjoy seeing the Cowboys fans' uncomfortable relationship with the good old Jerry. There you go. Southwest, Branch, back. Woo! Yes, he should be fully back this week, I would anticipate. JDC, Derek Lewis, that jingle. I'll go with that. And see, Southwest, you gotta to slap the Jerry World refs. Thank you. All right, we'll slap the refs in Jerry's World. Derek, they do. JDC, JK, Rodgers lost on purpose. It could be. See, Southwest, why is this idiot Bears fan in our chat this morning? Couldn't it be dreaming about playoffs? That's because you are gone. Yes, I see what you're saying. See, Dr. Detroit, Man Bear, howdy y'all, says Dr. Detroit. Rose Bear, hey, You need some luck to win sometimes, and the Lions are the luckiest. Okay, broski, stop with that, man, because especially with how your team is winning. Stop it with the luck stuff, man. Stop it. All right, Southwest, get this non-playoff bum in our chat. Yes, he is what it is. Broski, the Lions are starting to get good luck instead of the bad. Well, I'll go with that too. See, Great Lakes, every comment you said this morning is bashing the Lions. Haven't we been down this road? Can someone ban this guy yet? Yeah, broski, this is it, man. Stop it. And, dude, if you're going to be in the chat, that's fine. But if you're going to come here and try to say, well, the Lions only win lucky, go look at your own team, man. They are a trash compactor of a season. All right, Ban Bear. Hey, Dr. D, there you go. JK, ban the Bears fan. All right, Dr. Detroit. What up, broski? Chatting the hate early, I see. Yes, he is. So, just all right. Jabrowski, you're in a timeout now. All right, Dr. Detroit. Hold on. Got to get things to load here. The chat sucks without broski, says Dr. Detroit. Fair enough. I'd say Southwest. A bear, he's the enemy. You can get off our, there you go. Hookadoo, yeah, broski needs to be banned, not just in timeout. He never learns. This is true, broski. You are a very slow learner. This is very true. Because nobody talks about the injuries we have just for our opponents and injuries. Frank, Iffy, Davenport. Yeah, thanks for listing all those. Because I'm often surprised. Everybody seems to point out the other team's injuries. And this isn't just fan bases, but it's national media. But they somehow don't point out our injuries. I don't get that, man. It's not like we don't have them too. Kurt Steele, Dr. Detroit is in. There you go. Key, Detroit, the doctor. I call Cap. All right. Dr. Detroit, what does broski hurt your fragility? Question mark. Relax. It's football. Fair enough. JDC, just chat faster than broski. Okay. That's not a bad idea. Great Lakes. Yeah, I don't miss him at all. Not sorry. Ending up being 30 minutes of dealing with his BS every time. I have to say about that. Not my call. Yeah, I put him in our timeout. And broski, man, you got to stop it, man. Otherwise, I just got to time out you permanently. DM5, run Monty. Derek Broski is okay. He's just misguided. Bless his heart. It might be true to there. All balls, no D. Good morning, Duke Crew. Back at you, my friend. See, Dr. Detroit, Key, your call, whoever you want. DM5, Chris Steele, Vikings are definitely beatable. Yeah, I was not overly impressed with them, and not that they didn't do some good things, but I think you're right. I think they are beatable. Bo, broski is a hoot. Don't reply to him if you don't like what he says. Fair enough. See, Southwest, you so worried about a hating Bears fan, you go find their chat and have some stuff. He hate our team because his isn't good. I'll go with that. Yes, his team, I think it'll be fun playing them this year. Miles Barger, FYI, and this ain't broski's only chat featuring broski. He does this, or tries to, in other channels. Donkey Kong ditto. There you go. Great Lakes, Brian Branch missing was huge in our run game last week. Yeah, and yet nobody points out our injuries. All right, Man Bear, we had the better team last year, and Dallas also overrated. Correct? Let's see, Dr. Detroit. Yeah, broski been here longer than some of you complaining. That might be true. Might be very true. JC, my dad can run faster than yours. All right. I'm down with that. Let's see, Dr. Detroit, let's boss up and ball out after this. 100%. Hey, Rich, what is he? Broski Bear, yes, the Seahawks put up some yards on the Lions, but the Lions still won the game. Just wait. Your time is coming. Yes, and it's coming sooner versus later. Tay Main, what do you? I guess everyone got about DJ Reader. I think he should be back for Dallas game. Yeah, I think Reader will be fine. He'll be out there. Let's go. Now, Detroit, Reader out. No, I think he'll be good for Dallas. Yes, 100%. Key, Dr. Detroit, I did, but no, I get it. No biggie. That's on you. If you feel the chat sucks without him, I am the same way with what Woodward Sports Morning Show. Okay, with Woodward's. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched their show in the morning in a while, but I'm always on here, so it makes it hard. Kurt, let's see, DM5 TV. Yes, they are. Their offensive line gave up 4 sacks yesterday. They did indeed. Amy, good morning, Dan, the Duke Crew. I think we take on the Cowgirls, no problem. Tonight, I will watch the Saints and Chiefs. Go Saints. Can't wait to watch our guys play Cowboys. Weird weekend without Lions. Yes, it is. But you know what? Hey, don't got to worry about it for a little bit now. All balls, what do you got? Exactly. Nobody mentions our injuries, just their own. This is next man up league. Sorry. Your next man is Cheek. Stop crying. Blame Jerry. Yeah, and that's the one thing, man. I guess people don't talk about our injuries because when we have guys, starters, or whoever out, you know what? We keep playing. We keep performing. So maybe that's a credit to our team. See, Doc Detroit, Key, been around for a year. Never seen you in either ever. Welcome to Lions football. Fair enough. DM5 did the Cowboys single blocked TJ Watt last night. He looked like that to me. Hutch has to take advantage if they do that next week. Yes, he does. Take advantage and get home. See, Miles Barker, Amy Spire, good morning. I went to high school in KC, so I will go with the Chiefs tonight. I'll probably go with the Chiefs just because, hey, you got a chance to beat an NFC team. And in the race for the NFC, who knows? I'll take all the advantage we can get. Tay-Main, Kurt Steele, that was a crazy game. My girl 49ers fan. I am Detroit Lions fan. I couldn't believe they lost like that. Yeah, 2 weeks in a row, too. 49ers fans have got to be fuming. Bo, well said, Junior. The guys are too much for anyone. These guys sometimes too much for anyone. We messed that up 100%. Key, Dr. Yeah, I'm always around. I'm listening more than chiming in. Coach and some others have seen me. Yeah, Key's been around for a real long time. I'm like the equivalent of that kid in your class who you see but don't really talk too much. That's probably a good comparison there, analogy. Kurt Steele, Tay-Main, yeah, good man, a crazy game. It was, man. And the second straight week, big fourth quarter lead went bye-bye. Miles Barker, laughing out loud. Key, yeah, I thought that was a good one. All balls paid Dak all that money to shut him up, and they should have been trying to deepen their roster. You have two players, Dak and Lamb, can't win with two. No, it will be a struggle for them. Hey, man, get rid of Houston. He sucks. For real, I'd be saying this. Yeah, he hasn't played well, man, and I don't know if it's the injury or whatever. All right, a couple more, and then it's time to get out of here. Miles Barker, Lions got depth. They do. Key, Doctor, but when he does always have something interesting to say, always wondering why he and more school activities or join social activities. There you go, Dimitri. Get back to the crew, Dan. I'm on the crew, my friend, on the crew. Problem is, hey, man, we can only get a water boy or a cheerleader for him, maybe. Fair enough for Great Lakes. Key, Miles, laughing. Say, Bo, can we get a Bobby Boucher? There you go. Man, that would be kind of awesome to add to the chats of the pop-ups. Dr. Detroit Broski is a regular here. He is, man. He is very much a regular. Great Lakes, I think last game he finally got playing time, and he just was trying so hard to show he can play, hence jumping off sides. It could be, yeah, maybe he was a little worked up. It might be. Hopefully he plays better if he gets an opportunity this upcoming weekend. Thanks, Hutch, says Miles Barker. Miles Barker, go Tigers. Dr. Detroit, Lions will spank the Cowgirls. I agree. Let's see, Kurt Steele, Coach Jones lives in Jackson. There you go. Let's see, Don Burr, Bears beat the worst team in football. Geez, Carolina is awful. They did. Let's see, Bo Booth, good stuff, Hutch Jr. Don Burr, if you go on any Bears platform, they are celebrating like the Bears beat the Chiefs. Hey, you got to celebrate when you can. See, Kurt Steele, Don Burr, laughing out loud. Yes, the Panthers aren't good. See, Harrisville, Lions are going to smack the Cowboys around. I hope so, my friend. Miles Barker, we're better than the Vikes, but Washington is more of an unknown. They got a QB, dude, that is amazing. Yeah, for a rookie, man, he's just lights out so far. Key, Lions fans really will need to relax about Minnesota. We'll beat them in a couple weeks, and in fact, I'm actually expecting us to sweep them. I have zero worries about the Vikings. So let's go with that, and I hope you are correct with that. Dr. Troy, they do, but the Bears' record is good, and that's what counts. Yes, they do have a winning record right now. Let's see, JDC, back to the saddle again. I'll go with that. Let's see, Great Lakes. Are you a Bears fan, Dr. Troy? Oh, I don't know. Morning, brother Hookadoo. There you go. No, but I'm not a blind fan either. Fair enough. See, Bo, I beat up Les Paul and is better than most. I beat up Les Paul. But, hey, it was all I had, man. Somebody basically sold it to me for very little, and it was very beat up. All right, guys, I'm going to go and get this one done here. Sorry I didn't make it all the way through the chat. But, hey, just good, lively chat today. And thank you for Hutch Jr. for coming on the show today. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Also, if you would be so kind, hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button. As you guys know, it all helps the channel out a lot. Head on over to Boss Up, Ball Up podcast with Kurt Steele. I'm sure he's already on the mic, but went a little overtime today. If there is some sort of breaking news today, I'll get it over to you guys as quick as possible. Otherwise, take care. Enjoy your day. Be kind to others. See you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Happy trails to you until we meet again.